is up, my good people of the internet? Wake up call with Dan Tortora here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate your patience here this morning, and always excited to be here with you talking sports. A lot of great stuff going on, a lot of awesome times. It is March Madness time. And those of you that know me know that I'm all about March Madness. I am all about the tournament and putting things together and having fun. We do a bracket challenge with Wake Up Call, which I'm going to be unveiling soon because I want y'all to be a part of it. I love this time of year. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I really, really do. And I am the person that will sit and watch as many games as possible. I don't know why I said set instead of sit. Maybe I'm getting a different, I don't know. I like to sit down on my chair. Just, I don't know. I'm a little Scottish this morning. I don't know how I'm feeling. But I love the tournament. Love, love, love the tournament. And last year was probably one of my most fun tournaments. I got to cover more teams than I've ever covered before. We did over 30 interviews, and they were coast to coast, north to south, east to west. And on top of that, I was watching the women's tournament. I was watching the men's tournament. I had so much fun with it. Really just, and it was a great time. And I got to go with my dad to a tournament game. My dad and I had never been to a tournament game together before because normally when I'm at the tournament, I'm covering the tournament. So I was still covering the tournament and, still doing the interviews and all of that because we were allowed to, interact virtually, which is awesome. I hope they do it again this year. And so I was hanging out, but I got to actually be with my dad. We went to Albany and we saw the UConn game. We saw the Miami Hurricanes game, and both teams won. And then both of those teams getting out of the Albany pod end up going and being in the Final Four, and then UConn wins a national championship. So in the two games my dad and I watched, we saw 50% of the Final Four and the future national champion. So yeah, pretty awesome for the first time that we sat in the bleachers together. So really just a great experience. Albany was a lot of fun. Really cool arena. Shout out to Albany, the capital of New York. And yeah, I look forward to what's to come now. And I'm excited. I'm really excited. I selfishly want Caitlin Clark to come to Albany. Can we make that happen, please? And I'm looking forward to making history. More history than we made last year. Because tourney time to me is. It's so exciting. It's unique. It's fun. A lot of good stuff coming up. And I can't wait to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in the second hour of today's broadcast because our proud partners are all heading to the postseason. So a lot of great stuff coming up. Inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. We're going to start the show off with AD and DT, an all-new AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta of LeMoyne College, myself, Dan Tortora. Bob and I are going to be discussing exactly that, LeMoyne men's and women's basketball, who not only made it to the NEC, the Northeast Conference. It's their first year in the Northeast Conference, first year in Division I. They not only made it to the postseason, thanks to the NEC not having their 2-year ban anymore on any of their postseasons. Thank God for that. So, and big time thanks to Noreen Morris and all the presidents of the universities and colleges involved with the NEC to make this decision, which affected Stonehill and LeMoyne. So many thanks for that. Hopefully the NCAA will follow suit and shorten this 4-year window to make the NEC tournament. Now, 8 out of 9 teams make it. And LeMoyne was picked last, I believe, at least in men's basketball, they were picked last. So the mentality was they're going to be the one team that doesn't make it. Not only did they make it, the men got a 4 seed, the women got a 2 seed. Both of them are hosting. So first year in Division I, first year in the Northeast Conference, a.k.a. NEC. And they're not only in the conference tournament with an opportunity to win a conference championship, but they're both hosting their first game at least in the tournament. The men hosting tonight, Wednesday, March 6th at 7 o'clock at Ted Grant Court on the Heights here in Syracuse, New York. And they're going to be playing up against FDU, who had a phenomenal run last year, albeit a different coach, a lot of different players. But FDU is going to have some spotlight on it because of what they did last year as a program. So they host FDU tonight. And then on Monday, March 11th, the women, the number 2 seed in the NEC tournament, they will have their game at 7 o'clock here in Syracuse, New York. So a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to get into Giving Day and give a special thanks to everybody who gave to LeMoyne and continues to give to LeMoyne, because we appreciate it so very much. So we'll get into that in just a moment with Bob Beretta, the AD at LeMoyne College, and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership which features AD and DT, as well as the Dolphin Dive and so much more. Then we'll get into some NFL talk, and then we'll discuss LeMoyne, Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, and Binghamton University with men's and women's basketball in all of them in the postseason. A lot of great stuff. The Bryan and Stratton teams are already going to be on the national scene. Very excited about that. So plenty to come with all of that going on. And we'll also get into Syracuse and your thoughts, because I asked y'all how you feel about Adrian Autry's first season. Many of you gave me responses. I will be reading those on the show today and discussing that, as well as a big-time congratulations to Felicia Leggett-Jack for just being awesome here in our community. So a lot of great stuff coming up on Wake Up Call right after this fast break.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, located for you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is the sports card shop to go to. They have everything for the sports card fan that's been collecting for years, and to the sports card fan that just started collecting. Maybe this week you're going to try it for the first time ever. They have singles, graded cards, as well as boxes and packs. You can find hockey, baseball, football, basketball, soccer, all sport, AEW, as well as the new Disney Lorcana that's been out here that is now in their third series and for the trading card game. And you can also find Pokemon for the trading card game as well. So many great things with awesome service and wonderful people. I want to truly thank everyone at GG Cards and Breaks. Josh, Anthony, Alex, Joel, and the whole team for all that you do to make it fun, to be big kids, and to connect us to the world of sports. Because, listen, when we're watching these games, we love these players, we love these teams. And when you collect cards, you can collect your team. You can collect your favorite player. And the really cool thing that they do, again, the personal touch of going beyond, is that these gentlemen put together boxes of every single Major League Baseball team, every single NFL team, every single MLB or every single NBA team. I want to say baseball twice. Every single NBA team as well. And so you can go there and find your favorite team. And when you find your favorite team, you can sift through it and find rookies and patches and autos potentially. There's a lot of great stuff that they have, and it helps you to connect to the team that you love and the players that you love. Because maybe your favorite team is the Jaguars, but maybe Josh Allen's your favorite quarterback. So you can go there and you can find all of it in one place and you can connect to it, which is really, really awesome. And I just appreciate all the work that they do, and I appreciate how much they care about the community. So make your way over to people that are just different in all the best ways. That being GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. We look forward to seeing you out there. And as always, happy collecting. And welcome here to an all-new AD and DT with Athletics Director of LeMoyne College, Bob Beretta, and myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT. We are always happy to be here with you during Dolphin time, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We're starting off a new month, which means that AD and DT, first and third Wednesday, second and fourth, the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, alumni, and future Dolphins. And of course, we underpromise and overdeliver, and you've gotten to have more Dolphin Dives and AD and DTs. So with that being said, we're happy to start off March with you, Bob. How are you?
I'm excellent, Dan. How are you doing today?
Doing very well. And there's a few things to talk about here. Some really great things. We're coming off of LeMoyne Giving Day, which was on the leap year day, Thursday, February 29th. And also, we are stepping in tonight to the first basketball postseason in Division I for the men's basketball team, and the women's team will be in just a few days. Both teams advancing to the NEC postseason, so two more teams already enjoying the fact that the NEC has made the decision to make them immediately eligible for postseason play. So a lot of great stuff to talk about, Bob.
Yeah, it really is, Dan. It's an exciting time. March Madness, I know that folks here at LeMoyne had really longed to be involved in March Madness for many, many years, and now here we are, and both our men and our women's teams, I think, are positioned extremely well. Both will compete for an NEC championship immediately, and we have home games on campus here at the Heights, so that's fantastic. Tonight, the first ever Division I conference tournament game, the history of Ted Grant Court, and then we'll repeat history on Monday in the first women's NCAA Division I conference tournament game. So we're really excited about the next few days.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see. We're not even a year in from the decision that happened last May in 2023, and we've already seen, as we talked about before, postseason opportunity. Men's soccer had it with Callum Donnelly, and now here we are, and the success of swimming and diving in the NEC postseason. Now we get to jump into fully jump in right here on the Heights as the Dolphins do, swimming right into Ted Grant Court for tonight at 7 o'clock, as the men's basketball team will host and the women's team will host on Monday, March 11th. So not only getting into the NEC tournament for men's and women's basketball, but just to speak to the fact that they both get to host, which means that they're one of the higher seeds, the women the 2 seed and the men the 4 seed.
Yeah, an incredible accomplishment by our scholar athletes and our head coaches to put them in position to be successful this year, and for our men's team to earn the right to host a quarterfinal round game. Fantastic accomplishment against FDU, and FDU clearly, last year, nation's darling, upset the number 1 seed in Purdue, and now they'll be here at Ted Grant Court on this evening. So we're really excited about that. And for the women, they've just had an incredible year. They started 2-11 overall, and that's a testament to their intestinal fortitude. You talk about grit and resilience, determination, everything that we preach here at LeMoyne, everything that we want to instill in our young Dolphins. They're a great example of that. And they'll host a first round game on Monday night, the 2 seed. And if fortunate enough, they'll advance and then host another game on Thursday night. And then potentially there is a chance, if there was an upset, that they could host a championship game. But if nothing else, would go on the road. If it were at Sacred Heart, it would be at Sacred Heart in a great matchup, the rubber game of what would be a phenomenal series between those two teams already this year. But yeah, I'm just so proud of our scholar athletes and of our head coaches to accomplish what they have in this initial season at the Division I level.
Yeah, I mean, in being at home, being able to experience that, it's the postseason, first ever Division I postseason for men's and women's basketball, first ever NEC tournament for men's and women's basketball, first time that they get to host for men's and women's basketball in the NEC. So, I mean, it's got to feel good to be in the postseason officially tonight and to know that Ted Grant Court is where they get to start things. So you get to start it in front of your fans, in front of your community, your fellow students and student athletes, your fellow teachers and administration. And that, to me, is one of the biggest testaments to what you and I have believed in, and Dr. Linda Lemira, the president, the board of trustees, so many people on campus believed before the move was made that these student athletes and these coaches were prepared to do this, and now we get to physically see it. And it would be great to make the postseason no matter what, but selfishly, it's great to be at home.
Yeah, it really is. You know, we're all creatures of habits, and there are no more creatures of habits than athletes and coaches, and we all like to get into a routine and a rhythm, and to be able to do that at home, sleep in their beds the night before the game, and be able to interact with their students on campus, attend class, all those things that a normal day would bring. I think that brings you a great advantage to get in that familiar routine, and then to be able to come out here tonight at Ted Grant Court and host a very talented FDU team, and two fantastic matchups in the regular season. We were able to go to FDU and open up our NEC conference existence with a victory down there, and then FDU just a couple weeks ago came back up here and dealt LeMoyne a tough loss. So again, the rubber match in the quarterfinal round on the men's side, and we'll see how things fall tonight. Hopefully we'll have a great crowd to come out and support, and this is history in the making, so we want to invite everyone to come out and be part of this. And we can only host a Division I conference tournament for the first time once.
Yeah.
And you can only be part of history once, and tonight is that night.
Yeah, I mean, and that's awesome. Tonight's the night for men's basketball. Monday, March 11th is the night for women's basketball. It will only happen one time, as Bob said, to host a Division I tournament game in your conference in the NEC. There's only one inaugural season in Division I, only one inaugural season in the NEC, and the men have it tonight, the women have it on Monday, and we would love to see you for both of those matchups, as we know that the hometown crowd has been a huge help in these games. And got to shout out the BBall band over this season for being the best at going up against free throws.
Yeah.
And just a lot of amazing things. There's going to be a t-shirt opportunity.
T-shirt opportunity tonight for the first 50 LeMoyne students to attend the game. We'll have a t-shirt giveaway. We'll do the same thing on Monday night for the women's game, and we're hoping maybe that our adopted band will be able to make it out to one of these games. I don't think they'll be here tonight, but we're hoping they can come and support the women's tournament game on Monday. Also, a shout out to the BBall band. I just read their 50th anniversary of the season, just as of March 8th or the first week in March. So congratulations to the BBall band and Casey Banderstow, their band director, their leader, and they have become LeMoyne's hometown adopted band, I should say, and we hope to have them here on Monday helping support our women's initiatives in the NEC tournament.
So you know to come out here tonight, and you know to come out here on Monday and cheer both of these teams on in the hopes and anticipation for more life in the NEC tournament. For the women, this feels like status quo. Last year they led the NE10 as the top seed and they hosted the tournament. This year they're the 2 seed and they're hosting it all the way through, potentially in the championship if something happens with Sacred Heart. So there's a lot to be said about what Mary Grimes, this is year 3, and it doesn't look like any difference between Division II or Division I. She has a winning record overall in Division I in her first season as a Division I head coach in LeMoyne women's basketball, first season in Division I at 15-13, 14-2 in the NEC. And then on the other side for the men, and Nate Champion, they are just below 500, and they have the opportunity to finish above 500 or very close to it in their first season. These first seasons, these first moments, these first steps for the Dolphins, these first fin flaps for the Dolphins, so to speak, in the water, in these new waters of Division I, you hope to be competitive. Both of these teams are either above 500 or right there, which to me is a huge foundational building to tell people they're not coming, they're here.
Yeah, they're here, and when you examine their non-conference schedule and some of the opponents that they played, for them, both teams to be up against the 500 mark, as you mentioned, the men are just 2 games under, the women are over 500. And then you look at who they played early in the season, and we said the women opened 2-11, and they played against the likes of Colorado, Colorado State, USC, Princeton is having a fantastic season. Those are elite brands in the world of college basketball. On the men's side, games against Georgetown and Villanova, Penn State, Fairfield, all top teams in their conferences. So for those teams to be able to work through those battles, navigate those minefields in the non-conference season, and still have an opportunity to finish above 500 for the season, it's a great testament to the leadership of the program, and it's a great testament to the student athletes, our scholar athletes, as I like to refer to them, because they truly are scholar athletes when you look at their GPAs. And for them to be able to achieve at the highest level of their potential academically and now athletically, when we talk about comprehensive excellence, that's what we're striving for here at LeMoyne, and certainly within our athletic department.
And when you look at the athletic department, we're coming off of Giving Day, like I said, the athletic department raising over $150,000, plenty of donors, softball with over 200 donors. We look at over $20,000 raised for men's soccer in Callum Donnelly's first season as the official head coach, not interim. And then we look at lacrosse, continuously pushing men's lacrosse, over $30,000 raised. The school raised over $1 million again as an institution. So I feel very spoiled because this is my third. So I've been around for a third of them. There's been 9 in a row, as Dr. Linda Lemira, the president, said to you all in the address. So in the last 9 years, we've had 9 straight LeMoyne Giving Days. I've been a part of the last 3, and I've seen 2 of them go over $1 million.
Yeah, and it's just a great tribute to the leadership here and the vision and the work that the advancement department has done with led by Dean Jim Joseph. And I think the final numbers are still being tallied, but I heard some rumblings. They thought it might be 30% above the highest ever previously raised. So really a new record in terms of dollars raised as an institution by almost 30%. So in athletics, we had a very successful season in terms of Giving Day season, as I like to refer to it, and a great thanks to our Finn family for all that they've done and stepped up and once again helped us in ways that we can't even express our gratitude and how it will help us provide that transformational experience to our student athletes. And it's because of the generous donations of folks that are aligned with our athletic program and the institution. They're generous dollars that they are able to provide us will allow us to deliver what we hope will be a transformative experience.
And for me, I love all the programs. So it's hard for me to, select 1 or 2. So what I did was what Bob has talked about, which I gave to the general fund.
That's right.
So that we can decide as an athletic department where, you decide where those dollars go and what could become of that. But to me, I was so excited for so many different things to see an uptick with certain programs and whatnot, and coaches that are, a year in or coming off the interim tag or whatever it may be, and seeing different things happening and raising money and raising the amount of donors. What I love to see and reflect upon is just, to me, the fact that there's really genuinely people that care on Giving Day, but then there's people that care beyond that. And I think when you look at the final numbers for Giving Day, especially in athletics, it doesn't include all these donations that have come in. It doesn't include the donations for the golf simulator. It doesn't include everything that's happening with LeMoyne men's and women's golf. So there's so many things that have happened prior to that. As wonderful as Giving Day was, I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you in general for your pre-Giving Day donations that gave so much to certain programs and certain projects on campus.
Yeah, it really is, and we couldn't do it without the support of our Finn family, and so we'd like to express our gratitude in so many ways and know how blessed we are to have so many supporters out there. And we don't set goals with dollars, we set goals with donors and engagement, and we wanted to have, our goal was to have 1,000 donors, and we blew past that number again this year. So thank you for the participation and the generous donations, and again allowing us to do some things that otherwise we wouldn't be able to provide our student athletes.
What's your favorite part of Giving Day?
It's funny, you get on the scoreboard and you're kind of watching that tally board all day long, but I love the involvement of our scholar athletes. That to me is the favorite part, is just seeing how many of our scholar athletes participate. And the dollar amount doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's $5, $50, $500, or $5,000. It's the fact that they are participating and supporting their program and our program. And to me, that's a way you can galvanize a community around Giving Day. And to me, that's my favorite part is seeing those student athletes jump on board at 18, 19, 20 years old and already having that mindset of giving back to community, giving back to your program, and being part of a solution rather than just always needing to take. They really want to give, and that's really important to me.
When you said scholar athletes getting involved while they're in school, the money that they're giving is going right back to them. So they're paying it forward instead of just asking for things. They're saying, hey, you know what?
Right.
There's these things we want as a team. Let me help where I can. Let me call my mom. Let me call my uncle. Let me call my dad. Let me call my sister and see what we can do. And I think that when you have student athletes, scholar athletes giving while they're in school, it's going to be a lot easier when they're alumni, because you're not reaching out to someone you haven't talked to in 27 years. You know, these are people that while they were here were saying, hey, we want to get new equipment. So I got $10. Instead of going and grabbing, you know, a burger today, I'm going to throw the $10 in the pot and say, here you go, coach, use it where we can. And like you said, it's not about the dollar amount. It was about getting people involved. It was about showing how big and vast and wonderful this community is. And I love it because, you know, I got to air some videos with coaches and got to have some fun with them. And Jeff Lodzak got him out there doing his thing for men's and women's tennis. So, you know, I love getting to share those moments with them. I love getting to speak with you during it and getting to see Linda and how she has such a serious message, and you can tell it's coming, and she's got this succinct thing, and she's looking at the camera and she pauses and she goes, fins up. So like hearing things like that and her passion, and it's just, to me, Giving Days are fun because it's essentially just a way of celebrating together for 24 hours and challenging each other. And I love seeing that. I love seeing different classes challenge each other, and different, you know, I'm sure the sports teams and whatnot saying, all right, can we get this, can we get that? And hearing the excitement of it. And like I spoke with Scott Cassidy about, a lot of people happy that LeMoyne baseball's back to D1. And so now it was like, okay, if you're excited about it and you've talked to me about it, then, you know, can you give something to us to kind of show that excitement giving into the program itself? So, I mean, to me, the money's great, the numbers are great, but ultimately, I just like seeing it because I accept the challenge as, you know, like you and Linda and everybody's maybe part of the family. I love the challenge of all day long I'm talking about it, and I'm trying to get people involved, and then I wait until the end. I like see all the tallies, and then I put in my donation at like midnight. So I like waiting to see
everybody
everybody
at the top.
Yeah. So yeah, I like to see it. I'm trying to hit a certain, you know, like we're at 2100. 21's my number. So what 21 can I be?
Yeah.
So I just like seeing the community help each other, and it's humbling every year to see how many people give back.
Yeah, just a great event, and again, many thanks to all those that participated. And if you couldn't participate this year, hey, there's always another time, and we still appreciate support. It comes in many different ways. It's just not financial. So if people can come out and support in a way that come out and watch the men win tonight against FDU, or the women win on Monday night, that support is much appreciated as well.
Yeah, I mean, any way that you can give your time, your energy, your prayers, your well wishes, your donations. There's so many ways to give, and the Finn family definitely shows it in a lot of beautiful ways. And, you know, I want to say thank you to you. I want to say thank you to Linda, to the board, to the coaches, to the student athletes, the scholar athletes, to the students, the teachers, the administration, faculty, the groundskeepers, literally everybody that's gotten involved, and all of the alumni and prospective students and student athletes, because it takes a village to raise up what you're trying to do on the Heights. And, you know, I've been spoiled for 3 years to be around some really great people.
Yeah, and I have as well. And, you know, we have visions for greatness here, and hopefully we'll start to see those visions become reality. And, you know, someone told me once before that visions without the financial support, they're just dreams. And so the financial support will help make those dreams become a reality. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you to all of you, and thank you as always for being with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora during Dolphin time and beyond that. AD&DT, Dolphin Dive, and so much more, all throughout the year in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. For now, for Athletics Director of LeMoyne College, Bob Beretta, and myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT, we always say it, Bob. Fins up. We'll talk with you soon. Be well, and we'll see you at the game tonight.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You just saw our all-new AD and DT featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta of LeMoyne College and myself, Dan Tortora, a.k.a. DT. And in that conversation, of course, part of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the LeMoyne College Dolphins, meaning that we have access to things before anybody else has them, and we also have the access and opportunity to tell the stories of student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout many years that we've worked. We're now in year 3 in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the LeMoyne College Dolphins, who have not had a bigger spotlight than they have right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and have never had this level of consistency as well across so many different platforms. So I want to thank President Dr. Linda Lemira, Athletics Director Bob Beretta, the Board of Trustees led by Pete DeLaura, and everybody on campus and alumni and prospective students and student athletes and everyone connected to the greater Finn family for your trust in me and for the awesome stories and the great hugs and smiles and all of the kindness. I'm very proud to be a part of the family, so thank you for that. It means a lot to me. With that being said, speaking of being part of the family, there's a lot of things to get into here today. We're going to jump into the NFL in hour 2, so I'm going to kind of flip-flop this because I want to get into what's happening with our partners in the postseason. Our partners in the postseason, and who are we talking about here? Well, Wake Up Call proudly is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of the LeMoyne College Dolphins, as I said, who are now part of the Northeast Conference in their first season in Division I. First ever year in Division I. They made the decision to move last May, and so then that became a real thing in July. And now here we are less than a year later, and both men's and women's basketball will be in the postseason tournaments after we've already seen men's soccer reach the postseason and see LeMoyne swimming and diving reach the postseason and the success that has come from swimming and diving most recently here. Also part of the family, the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse, who are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they are in the USCAA. The USCAA is for small colleges. It's like the NCAA, but it is a separate entity that oversees schools all over the country that are considered quote-unquote smaller colleges, but still have awesome talent and awesome studies for the scholastic side, awesome athletics. And Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse is a multi-time national champion, multiple national championships in men's soccer, a national championship in women's soccer, and national opportunity going to the national tournament for men's and women's basketball, making some history there over the past few years. A lot of great stuff that they've done. And of course, our newest exclusive multimedia marketing partner, the Binghamton Bearcats, who call the America East home. And every single one of these men's and women's basketball teams are in the postseason. The LeMoyne College Dolphins will start off their postseason tonight, which I'm very excited about. They will start off their postseason tonight, and that postseason will see the men's basketball team hosting their first ever Division I postseason game and NEC postseason as well. So a lot of history being made on the Heights today on Ted Grant Court in Syracuse, New York. I cannot wait to share this moment with you. Very much looking forward to it, and a lot of great stuff coming up with this Northeast Conference. So I do want to let you know the information once again if you didn't see it on our social media, and that is the fact that the quarterfinals are all today. We will have the number 1 seed Central Connecticut State go up against number 8 seeded St. Francis at 7 p.m. That game will be played in Connecticut. Merrimack will be hosting as the number 2 seed against LIU, Long Island University, the number 7 seed, also at 7 p.m. Sacred Heart, the number 3 seed, will host Wagner, the number 6 seed, at 7. And the LeMoyne College Dolphins men's basketball program will host their first ever Division I postseason game and first ever NEC tournament game tonight when LeMoyne, the number 4 seed, hosts the number 5 seed, Fairleigh Dickinson University, FDU, at 7 o'clock. So all 4 of these games will be going on at the same time on NEC Front Row. So you're able to watch all of these games. 4 teams will advance. Those 4 teams that advance will go to the NEC Tournament Final Four, and that will be this Saturday, March 9th, and that is going to be played, again, whoever the highest seed is going to be hosting it. There will be a game at noon and a game at 2, and on Tuesday, March 12th, we will see the NEC Championship, which will have an automatic qualifier to the NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament. But if LeMoyne wins, they cannot go in. Or if Stonehill, well, Stonehill's not going to be in this one, but if it were Stonehill, who is not eligible for this because they did not get in the top 8 of the NEC, LeMoyne and Stonehill are still under their reclassifying period. And so even if LeMoyne wins, they cannot go to the NCAA tournament unless there was some type of waiver or some opportunity or something that happened in that respect. So that's on the men's side of things for LeMoyne basketball. On the women's side of things, to let you know what's going on, is the women make history this year, which I'm really, really looking forward to. The women are 14-2 in the conference. The only team better, Sacred Heart, who is 14-1. Sacred Heart's been in the NEC for years. LeMoyne, this is their first season in the NEC, first season in Division I, and this is how their tournament's going to go off here. We will see the number 2 seeded LeMoyne College Dolphins, who've had a week off. There was other teams other teams inside of the conference of the NEC were playing this week, where LeMoyne was all set. They finished a few days back here. And so they actually finished over the weekend on Saturday. So they are the number 2 seed. They will face off against the 7 seed, and we will see that happen at 7 o'clock this Monday, March 11th. Whoever advances to the Final Four will play on Thursday in the NEC, Thursday, March 14th. Those games are both going to be at 7 p.m., and the Women's Championship will be this Sunday for the NEC on March 17th at noon Eastern time. And these games are going to be played on, the championship will be on ESPNU, ESPN Plus as well. So a lot of great stuff coming up here. The semifinals are going to be on the Yes Network as well as ESPN Plus and the NEC network as well. The games that are going on in the quarterfinals will be on Front Row for the NEC, which is free. And so that's what it looks like on LeMoyne's side. Once again, our partners in the postseason. These are all of our, and this is a blessing, and I truly appreciate it. It means a lot to me to be able to share this with you, that every single team that we have for men's and women's basketball in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnerships with LeMoyne College, Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, as well as for Binghamton University, we get to celebrate the postseason. Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, who we're going to get to next, and there is the reality that, well, I mean, in the NEC, not every team makes it. In the NEC, there is one team that's left out, and so LeMoyne was able to get into their tournament. In the America East, all teams move forward, so Binghamton will be in it no matter what. We get to celebrate this with them, though, and the irony that both the men's and women's basketball team got the same seed, and we'll get to that in a minute. But Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, they had to be chosen for the national tournament. They go straight to the national tournament. There is no conference tournaments. They go straight to the national tournament. And so we are seeing here, and I'm taking a look at the brackets that are set up here for both sports and taking a look at men's basketball as well as women's basketball. So on the men's basketball side of things, the schedule of events here, looking to bring this up. Let's see here. Because they might still be putting together some of the logistics. I know the women's schedule is set for Bryan and Stratton, but taking a look at the men's schedule here, and it goes all the way through every single game, folks. There's a lot there's a lot to see here on this side of things. So if we look at the USCAA, once again, it's like the NCAA, but it's for smaller colleges. And so we have the opportunity of seeing just a few teams advance to the national tournament. And Bryan and Stratton College, they both have advanced to the national tournament, which I'm really excited for. It's in Richmond, Virginia. It's from March 10th to the 14th. And it might be the last year in Richmond, Virginia, as they might be coming a little bit closer, which I'm really excited for this, is that we might actually get to see them in Buffalo, folks. So definitely looking forward to that. And just looking down the schedule here, so it doesn't look like they have the times set up on the men's side of things, so I can at least give you the women's side of things. Bryan and Stratton Syracuse will face off against Carlow on March 10th at 3 p.m. So very excited for this and what's coming up. That'll be this Sunday, March 10th at 3 p.m. Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, led by head coach Tay Baker, will go up against Carlow in the quarterfinal round of the USCAA National Tournament. And it is extremely, it's not easy to get in. You have to get, like in these cases, they had to get selected. There's a USCAA Division I and a USCAA Division II. Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse is in Division I, and both teams had to be picked. There was only 8 allotted spots, and the women's team was picked 5th, the men's team was picked 6th, and they're both going on to the national tournament, our partners in the postseason. And then for Binghamton University, our newest exclusive multimedia marketing partner school, and that just started a few days ago, not even, what's today? Today is the 6th, so not even a week. that we've been working with Binghamton University, and we already get to celebrate the fact that they will be moving forward here. And so we get to see them in men's and women's basketball. Both teams received the 5 seed, which is kind of interesting here. And so the quarterfinals will start this Saturday, March 9th. Number 8, UAlbany will be at number 1, Vermont. Whoever's the higher seed gets to host. And I know it gets confusing to people, but higher seed means lower number. So the highest seed is the 1 seed. And so, because sometimes people, it's like, well, 1 is lower than 2, but in basketball, it's just worded different. So the higher seed gets to host. Number 8, UAlbany at number 1, Vermont. That's going to be this Saturday, March 9th at 3 p.m. Also at 3 p.m., number 7, UMBC will be at number 2, UMass Lowell. And then we will see at 2 o'clock, number 6, Maine at number 3, Bryant. And number 5, Binghamton will be at number 4, New Hampshire for men's basketball at 3 p.m. this Saturday, March 9th. The semifinals for the America East, if Binghamton is to move on, and hopefully we will see a semifinal game for the Bearcats. I know the fans are looking forward to that. And so the higher seed will host this as well. Tuesday, March 12th, the game times are to be determined. And on Saturday, March 16th, the championship will be hosted by the highest remaining seed. That game will be on ESPN2 at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And playoffs are reseeded after the quarterfinals, just so you know. So, Binghamton has their men's basketball game on the road this Saturday, March 9th at 3 p.m. against New Hampshire. On the women's basketball side of things for Binghamton University and the Bearcats, the women are also the number 5 seed. They will travel to number 4, Bryant. Their game will be this Friday, March 8th at 6 p.m. Also going on inside of the America East women's basketball tournament, we will have number 8, UMass Lowell at number 1, Maine at 5 p.m. on Friday, March 8th. Also on Friday, March 8th, number 7, NJIT at number 2, UAlbany. Number 6, UMBC at number 3, Vermont is going to be at 6 p.m. The NJIT UAlbany game will be at 7. So if we go down the line here, we got 2 games at 6, 1 at 5, and 1 at 7. Maine hosting UMass Lowell at 5 p.m. Friday, March 8th, followed by UMBC at Vermont, Binghamton, the number 5 seed at number 4, Bryant, also at 6 p.m., and then we have NJIT at UAlbany at 7 p.m. If Binghamton is to move on to the semis, they will play on Monday, March 11th. The times are to be determined, and the higher seed will host. The championship for the America East will be Friday, March 15th, hosted by the higher seed on ESPNU on Friday, March 15th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So, opportunity here for all of our partners in the postseason. Binghamton University advancing to the 5 seed for both men's and women's basketball. Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse being chosen as one of the 8 teams to represent the nation in Division I USCAA for men's basketball and women's basketball. It's becoming a normalcy here, which is a great thing to have, as the men's and women's soccer teams have built that respect from Bryan and Stratton to the nation, to the USCAA, and Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, year in, year out, getting picked for the national tournament in men's and women's soccer. And now in men's and women's basketball, a few years ago, this wasn't happening. And now both teams have been selected again. And LeMoyne College advancing to the NEC tournament, not being at the bottom of the NEC in their first season in Division I, as some picked them to be. And so they have already proven themselves by getting into the tournament. And now they have the opportunity to not only be in the tournament, but to be hosting the tournament, which is huge. Hosting for, at this point, hosting the quarterfinal round of the tournament. So definitely appreciate that. And definitely, yeah, so Greg, yeah, so one team's out. So one team doesn't make the America East, and one team doesn't make the NEC. So not everybody gets in. So, you know, we're taking a look at this, and I know a comment came in of, does every team, and it's a no. In the NEC, not every team makes it. In the America East, not every team makes it. And in the USCAA, in the national tournament, you have to be selected to make it to the national postseason. So to Binghamton, to Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, to LeMoyne, congratulations on advancing to your tournaments in the postseason. LeMoyne being in the NEC in their conference tournament, Binghamton being in the America East Conference tournament, and Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse being in the national tournament. They jump right to the national tournament. So think NCAA tournament, March Madness. Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse is already going to be in that. They're leaving this Friday, and we're going to see them off this Friday, which I'm ecstatic about. So pay close to our social media and our YouTube channel to see us send them off with love and positivity and well wishes and positive thoughts and all of that as they head to the USCAA National Tournament in Richmond, Virginia for Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. So a lot of great stuff coming up here, and very much looking forward to everything that is to come. I want to thank everybody that's watching and listening right now. And some people just can't help themselves. But I'm very happy to have you here on the broadcast. And thank you for being a part of the show, as always, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You know, positivity is something that people struggle to have. And I was seeing that last night in watching the game, the Syracuse game, that there were Syracuse fans that were attacking each other. And I mean, I get attacked all the time when I'm being positive, which I find hilarious. But positivity in today's America, for some odd reason, it gets attacked. And when people are wrong, they can't admit it. When I'm wrong, I'm like, okay, I was wrong, right? You know, one team doesn't make it, the other teams do, great. But there's also the reality of people saying, well, you know, I mean, in some cases, like in the ACC, everybody makes the tournament, the ACC tournament, unless you're like disqualified because you broke some NCAA rule or something like that. And because that happened with Louisville in the not too far away past. But it's important. You know what I mean? Like, it's important. If 8 out of 9 teams make it or 15 out of 15 make it, it's still important. And in the case of LeMoyne, it's historic. LeMoyne has never played in the NEC tournament. They've never played in a Division I postseason for men's and women's basketball. So that's huge. And then on Binghamton's side, you know, to get to the middle of the pack here, to get to the 5 seed, you know, there's an opportunity if some things happen here, and obviously they reseed after the quarterfinals, there's a chance we could see Binghamton come home. We're going to see LeMoyne be home, at least to start this thing. The men's team is going to be home tonight as the 4 seed. If things continue to go well, they could be home again. The women's team will be home for the quarterfinals. If they are to win the quarterfinals for LeMoyne Dolphins women's basketball, then they'll be in the semifinals at home. And if Sacred Heart somehow loses along the way, then LeMoyne would host the championship of the NEC at home. So that's something to look at. And then Bryan and Stratton's going to be in Richmond, Virginia. So they'll be away from home no matter what happens here. And I'm looking forward to it. Greg said, America East used to have a host venue each year for the men and women. Yep, I remember that. Then the higher seed would host the championship game a week later. That has, of course, changed. Yeah, so they're doing what the NEC does, where, you know, they don't have a host city. They don't have a host school saying, okay, the number 1 seed's going to host the whole thing. They have the higher seed the whole way through. So, you know, the NEC doesn't have a place like, okay, we're going to be in New York City this year, right? You know, LIU is going to host. They don't have that happening, and the America East doesn't either. But I remember when the America East did. So I'm happy you brought that up, Greg, because I do. And by the way, the America East logo looking like a Route 66 thing, like looking like the interstate thing, I think that's really cool. And I really like that new logo because the America East has had different logos over time. So it's definitely cool, and I can appreciate it very much so. So it's tourney time, right? And it's happening tonight. It starts tonight. Tonight, the 6th, and then the 8th and the 9th, and so on and so forth from there. So, I mean, I have plenty of basketball to... I'm going to have games to watch bare minimum tonight, the 6th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, and then if teams advance, more from there, which is incredible. And I feel very spoiled. But that's why I wanted to do this morning, because we're so proud to have the partners that we have. And, you know, to have our partners in the postseason, knowing that the regular season counts and what you do in it counts. In LeMoyne Dolphins men's basketball, 2 games under 500 in their first Division I year, playing all over the place. Getting a win in California was huge going to the West Coast. I mean, they started off their season against Georgetown, a fellow Jesuit school, and then they went up against Villanova. LeMoyne's been testing themselves right out of the gate in men's basketball. In women's basketball, they faced 2 teams that were in the nation's top 10. One of them in the top 5. They faced off against Colorado, who went on to defeat LSU, the reigning national champion, and they faced USC when I think USC was number 5 in the nation. So they challenged themselves out of the gate, and they're 2 games above 500 at the end of the regular season. To look at both of these teams and say that they're either close to being 500 or above 500, that's year 1. That doesn't say, and I said it earlier on with Bob, that doesn't say, hey, LeMoyne is on its way. Hey, LeMoyne is coming. LeMoyne is here. Your first Division I season, if you finish, in my opinion, from watching sports my whole life and covering sports more than half my life, if you go up a division and you're 500 or better, you're right around that line or better, that's a massive thing to say. We're going to start off. LeMoyne women's basketball is starting off their time in the NEC 14-2, second in the conference. It looks like the NE10 in Division II to the NEC in Division I that there's been no change with LeMoyne. They were the 1 seed last year hosting the NE10 tournament in Division II of the NCAA, and now they're the number 2 seed at 14-2 in the conference, hosting their first game, and if they win their first game, hosting at least the semifinals on their home court. So through my eyes, I'm seeing a different logo, NE10, NEC, but I'm not seeing a different team Division II to Division I. Mary Grimes is doing a tremendous job. And I don't want to take anything away from Nate Champion on the men's basketball side of things because they've gutted it out and got to where they are right now. They had to work to get to the top 4 seeds so that they could host a game. And work they did. By the way, Kai Cleary made first team All-NEC. He also has the most points ever in a single game for LeMoyne men's basketball history, passing Phil Harlow and Dick Kenyon, who set the record of 41 points back in 1954, 55 time. And I got to interview Dick Kenyon as well as Phil Harlow. Please go back and watch those because they were 2 of the best interview opportunities I have ever had in my life. So please go back and see them. And I've spoken with Kai throughout the season. But Kai made first team. My guy Luke Sutherland, who I was with on the court when they won a New York State title, the only New York State title in West Genesee boys basketball history. I was with Luke, and I've been with Luke all the way through when he was at Siena. Then he was at Bryant. Then he came here, and they were Division II, and now they're Division I. He made All-NEC second team. Should be first team in my opinion, but he made second team, and that's phenomenal. And I'm not saying that because I know Luke. I'm saying that because Luke, I'm telling you folks, if you don't think Division I talent comes out of Central New York, then you ain't looking. Because that man's been on 3 D1 teams. And he's a better player now than he's ever been. Arguably. That's a for sure, but he's been tremendous. Then Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, they've had their ups and downs this year. The men's basketball team came out striking, came out hot, came out with a ton of positivity, and then they had to go through some adversity. And they navigated through that adversity to make it to the national tournament. The women's basketball team had to come off of a very interesting and unique season last season where they had a tremendous record, but one of their players ends up being ineligible and it affects everything. And a lot of people that were not involved had to suffer the consequences of that. And that was extremely unfortunate because that was a potential record year for Bryan and Stratton women's basketball. And they fight through all of that adversity, through things that they couldn't control, to get to where they are today, back in the national tournament. Then you look at Binghamton University, and you look at what Binghamton University's done. The men have won 3 games in a row to put themselves in the 5 seed. The women's team at Binghamton, the Bearcats, have won 4 of their last 5 games to end the regular season to put them at the 5 seed. So our partners are not just in the postseason. Our partners are going into the postseason with some energy, some fire, and it all starts tonight. And I can't wait. We'll take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We'll be back after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Before the break, talking about our partners in the postseason in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnerships with LeMoyne College, Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, and now Binghamton University. We get to celebrate each of them in the postseason for both men's and women's basketball. The LeMoyne College Dolphins, due to the reclassifying rules of the NCAA, until they change, there's a 4-year reclassifying period, which means that they cannot advance to the NCAA tournament as an automatic or at-large bid. So they can play in the NEC tournament, which means that they are not barred from the postseason. They just cannot advance to the NCAA tournament as of now unless those rules change, and they could change at any time. So, LeMoyne College for the NEC, 8 out of 9 teams advance, and the men's team, once again, a 4 seed, will be at home tonight, Wednesday, March 6th at 7 p.m. The women's team, the number 2 seed out of 8, will be at home on Monday, March 11th at 7 p.m. in the quarterfinals of their first ever NEC tournaments, and the first time they get to host and the first time they're in a Division I tournament. So that's awesome. Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse in Richmond, Virginia. heading to the USCAA National Tournament for the opportunity to a national championship in men's and women's basketball happens this weekend. And they'll be sent off this Friday, which I'm excited to be a part of. And Binghamton University in the America East will be on the road as the number 5 seed in men's and women's basketball with 8 of 9 teams, as Greg pointed out. 8 of 9 teams will be advancing to that tournament, and so Binghamton making it as well. And that was what I was saying before is, when every team makes it or all but one team makes it, that doesn't mean that you belittle in any way, shape, or form the teams that advance. You know what I mean? These teams work really, really hard and diligently, and Binghamton has an opportunity to get into the NCAA tournament if they win this. They have the automatic bid. And LeMoyne, outside of the reclassifying period, would have the same automatic bid in the NEC, and Bryan and Stratton's already in the national tournament. So I got 2 teams that we're connected to that have an opportunity to win a national championship, and 4 teams that have an opportunity to hoist a conference tournament trophy, and 2 of those 4 teams that have an opportunity to advance to the NCAA tournament for the rights to play for a national championship as well. So a lot of great stuff going on. Keeping with the sports side and the basketball side of things, and good morning to Jermaine here, looking at where we're at with Syracuse basketball, I first and foremost want to give a big time shout out to Miss Felicia Leggett-Jack. Now, Felicia was voted honored as ACC Coach of the Year, and getting that honor of ACC Coach of the Year is huge. The team has been ranked in the nation's top 25 multiple times this season. They end the regular season ranked 20, and it's been huge. It's been absolutely amazing for the community, and it's been amazing for the school. They finish in the top 3 in the ACC, so they're going to be the 3 seed in the ACC tournament. Syracuse Orange women's basketball. Virginia Tech is the 1 seed, followed by NC State and Syracuse. And they have 5 teams in the ACC ranked in the nation's top 25. So a third of the ACC ranked in the nation's top 25, 5 out of 15 schools. Virginia Tech, the number 11 seed, Virginia Tech ranked 11th in the country. NC State ranked 10th, Syracuse 20th, Notre Dame 14, and Louisville number 20, ranked 24th in the nation. Syracuse was just outside of being the number 1 seed. Virginia Tech was 14-4 to end the regular season in the ACC. Syracuse 13-5, which Notre Dame and NC State also. And due to tiebreakers, Syracuse ends up getting the 3 seed. Overall, Syracuse 23-6, the exact same record as Virginia Tech, who's the number 1 team in the ACC. So the same overall record. The best record overall of any team in the ACC for women's basketball this season, NC State at 25-5. So something to be said there about these teams that are advancing. And I do want to take a look at the ACC tournament to give you some information here for the women's bracket here in 2024. Now that we know that the women's bracket is all set and ready to go, they are going to be tipping off their tournament here, and very excited for this. So Virginia Tech gets their first ever regular season title in women's basketball history for the Hokies inside of the ACC, the first ever ACC regular season title for Virginia Tech, which is huge on the women's side because a couple of years ago on the men's side, the men won their first ever ACC tournament when I was in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. So in just a few years' time, Virginia Tech men hoisting their first ever ACC tournament trophy, and now this season, Virginia Tech women hoisting their first ever regular season title in the ACC, which is really, really awesome. And so as we take a look at this bracket here, and I want to pull up the bracket and I want to look at it. See, you can read through and see when everything's happening. I like to physically see the bracket. I'm a bracket guy. So looking at the bracket right now here in the studio to let you all know, this is how it shakes out. The first round starts today for the ACC tournament on the women's side of things, and that start is going to be today, March 6th at 1 p.m. when number 12 Clemson plays number 13 Boston College, and then we will also see number 10 Georgia Tech play number 15 Pitt, which is at 3:30 p.m. today Eastern Time. And then number 11, Virginia, take on number 14, Wake Forest at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. These games are all on the ACC network. And then we'll take a look at, so that's the first round. The second round, Louisville will play the winner of Clemson-Boston College at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Then we will see North Carolina, the 8 seed, play the number 9 seeded Miami at 1:30 tomorrow. We'll see the number 7 seeded Duke play up against the winner of Georgia Tech and Pitt, and that'll be at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And then number 6, Florida State, will play the winner of Virginia and Wake Forest at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. All of those games are on the ACC network. In the quarterfinals is when Syracuse will play. Top 4 seeds advance through the first 2 rounds. So we know that no matter what, we've already seen Syracuse advance through the first 2 pieces of this tournament. There are 5 rounds. They're going to start in the 3rd round, aka the quarterfinals. Number 4 seeded Notre Dame will play the winner of Louisville versus Clemson or Boston College. And then Virginia, the number 1 seed, will play the winner of North Carolina, Miami, the 8-9. These games, Friday, March 8th, Notre Dame's game that they will play will be at 11 a.m. Virginia Tech, the number 1 seed, will play at 1:30 p.m. against North Carolina or Miami. NC State will play at 5 p.m. this Friday against the winner of Duke versus Georgia Tech or Pitt. And then Syracuse, the number 3 seed, will have the latest game, and Syracuse as a school seems to do better later, so they got the later game. Number 3 seeded Syracuse will play the winner of Florida State versus Virginia/Wake Forest. Whoever wins that will go up against Syracuse for the last game of the quarterfinals at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the ACC Network this Friday. The semifinals will be this Saturday at noon and at 2:30 p.m. Those are all on the ACC Network. And then finally, they'll be on ESPN, the linear ESPN. The championship will be this Sunday, March 10th for ACC women's basketball. On the men's side of things, take a look at the men's bracket here, as Syracuse just finished up last season. And I will be reading your comments, folks, because I know a bunch of you sending comments on all different ones of our social media here, and I appreciate you sending in those comments to us. On the men's side of things, we take a look at Syracuse finished up yesterday losing to Joe Girard again. So 0-2 against Clemson this season, Syracuse is. And on senior day, Joe Girard continued to put that work in as he normally does, and people need to be respectful of that man. So, you know, it's just some people are just not nice people, but I'm very happy to see that Joe's doing well for himself, as always. I want to take a look here at the ACC tournament on the men's side, and they still will be, let me take a look here really quick, because there's one other piece to the men's side of things. But Syracuse was in the top 4, which means, like the women's team, they would have had a double bye, but they fell from 4 to 7 immediately after losing the game yesterday. So that puts Syracuse in a dicey situation here. Now, there are more games going on. And this is the interesting part of the season, because some conferences are already in their conference tournaments and other conferences are not. So as we take a look at today, and I just want to take a look. So today Boston College is playing at Miami for ACC men's basketball. So not everything is done regular season wise yet. But if we take a look at this and say, okay, Boston College and Miami are facing off against each other, and I take a look at the standings here. So Boston College is 6-12, Miami 6-12. So they can't actually seed yet, because whoever wins this game is either going to be seeded 13th or 14th. But let's look at this for argument's sake, and I'm going to try and put this thing together for us since it's not put together yet. So the men will start on Tuesday, March 12th, next Tuesday, and Tuesday, March 12th through Saturday, March 15th in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. The number in the first round, the 12 seed will take on the 13 seed, which, if it stands, would be the 12 seed would be Georgia Tech, and the 13 seed would be Boston College if it does stand for that. It could be Georgia Tech and Miami. Then we take a look at, let me just make sure that there's no other changes that can happen here. No, there are changes that can happen here. Because if Boston College or Miami goes 7-12, then they got to look at all the head-to-heads for that. So yeah, so this thing is not fully in the bottom few teams from 11 to 15. This thing is not set up yet. But Syracuse, for argument's sake, right now is the 6th seed. So they did move up here a touch. They went from 4 to 7, and now they're up to 6. So they are the 6th. So if they are going to be the 6th seed for men's basketball, then that means that Syracuse will be playing in the later portion of the tournament, which they typically are better at, by the way, folks. The 6th seed would be playing the winner of the 11-14. That game is going to be at approximately 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and that'll be in the second round of the tournament. They'll advance through the first round into the second round on Wednesday, March 13th, and Syracuse will be facing off against the winner of the 11-14 matchup, which, if it stands, it would be the winner of Notre Dame, Miami. So Syracuse will have to play Notre Dame or Miami, but that could change. But right now, Syracuse is in the top 6, so that's a good thing for Syracuse. Bodes well for Syracuse in the top 6 seeds. There's only one game going on here. So, and then, of course, Duke is going to play North Carolina coming up this weekend, but there's one game tonight, Boston College at Miami. So the ACC is not done. The women's bracket is starting today. The men's bracket starts next week. So as of right now, Syracuse on the men's side is a 6 seed, and that would put them in the latest game on Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, which is usually like 9, maybe they start at 9:47, 9:50, something like that. So they'll start later on, and they would play the winner of the 11-14 matchup, which at the moment is Notre Dame versus Miami is where it stands currently. But there are changes that can happen here. Let's see some words that came in. For sure, Joe Girard did a fine job in shooting daggers into the hearts of the Syracuse. He didn't shoot daggers into the hearts of the Syracuse faithful. Joe Girard gave everything to Syracuse for 4 years, and he has every right to go live his life. And by the way, I would love to see the percentage of people that booed Joe Girard at home in the Dome that now hate Joe Girard for being successful elsewhere. It's like you didn't want him, but look at him now. And by the way, I've known Joe for many years. He's a nice guy. He's always treated me with respect. He has never said a bad word about Syracuse. So I don't know why Syracuse fans are bitter, other than the fact that you miss him. Because you know when you're like, I don't care about my ex, right? I don't care about that girl. I don't care about that guy. Let them go date. Who cares? Whatever. They're ugly. They're stupid. I don't like them. I hate them. Blah, blah, blah. And then they go date somebody and they're looking at their timeline on social media. And they're, can you believe them in this bikini? Can you believe them on this beach? Can you believe them over here? Can you believe them over there? And it's like, yeah, because you miss them. I just want people to openly admit that they miss Joe Girard, because you do. And he's now on a team that is more fundamentally sound than Syracuse. He's now on a team that plays basketball as opposed to 1-on-5. Now, Syracuse has gotten better over time this year, but Syracuse is not a fundamental basketball team. That's why they get beat by fundamentals all the time by good teams, including Clemson. So I think Joe's probably having the time of his life on a team that is a more fundamentally sound basketball team that is more poised to make a run in the postseason, that is more capable and plays together. It's a different world in Clemson. It's a different world outside of Syracuse. Syracuse does not play basketball. And that's the thing that's probably the most frustrating to me, is that the things I had to learn as a high schooler are not necessarily happening on the floor in a Division I program. And I cover all of Division I. I spent a lot of time in the ACC and a lot of time with the American Athletic and so on and so forth, but I cover everything. People that have watched this show over the years, we do tournament specials every year. We do brackets every year. I am constantly looking at all 32 I'm going to be looking at all 32 conferences over the next couple weeks here, preparing for everything. But I'm constantly making myself say, okay, what's going on? You know what I mean? And I focus, zero in on Syracuse and on the ACC and what I'm covering. And then I start to pull that like outer sphere thing and take a look at everybody. So I'm about to dive into looking at the world of Division I men's basketball and preparing myself. And I don't have to look at all 353 teams necessarily, but I got to look at a lot of them. And if you saw the amount of work that goes into this thing, it's a lot, but I love it. So Greg said, not bitter at all. Joe stepped up and played a major role in giving Syracuse. I'm not saying you, Greg. I'm saying there are Syracuse fans that are bitter as all get out that Joe's not in Syracuse orange, even though they didn't want him here. Some of them did, some of them didn't. Trevor Cooney got disrespect. It's something about like the three-point shooter at Syracuse. It's like the three-point shooter is supposed to win it's supposed to like make every shot. The three-point shooter is supposed to make every single shot. Trevor Cooney took hell. Joe Girard III took hell. Justin Taylor now is taking hell. I think people probably had moments of Jerry McNamara too, and Preston Shumpert. It's crazy. Let one of those people come out of the stands, make 1 3, one time, in one game. So, I love and respect Joe. And I always have. The Orange needed to perform better in either game versus Clemson. If they did this, would be a much better position. Yeah, they would be in a better position. They needed to win. They needed to win that game against Clemson. They had the game against NC State where there was a quad 1 win, and then they took it away from them the next day and said it wasn't a quad 1 win. And I don't understand how something can be a quad win in 1, 2, 3, or 4 on a Tuesday, and then 2 days later they're like, no, it's not. We changed it. How can you change it? Shouldn't it be where they were at the time of play? That makes no sense to me, because I had a fan say to me, they're like, Dan, I thought we were 3-7 against quad 1. And I said, well, you were, but now you're 2-7 because the NET rankings decided to take away the NC State victory and call it a quad 2 instead of a quad 1. So take it and move it, I guess I should say. So, I mean, Syracuse has a win over North Carolina after getting blown out. But it's what have you done for me lately, right? That should count. That Syracuse had a better game against North Carolina more recently than they did in the past, farther in the past. That's supposed to count. What have you done for me lately? And beating NC State, if it was a quad 1 win at the time of play, should be a quad 1 win. So if that's a quad 1 win, and then you look at, yeah, Greg, but it's ridiculous that quads are fluid. Because what's the point? You know what I mean? What's the point? And who gets to decide? We did the quad show last week with Jeff Cook, with Cookie. Who gets to decide this garbage? I mean, you're looking at these games, and there are teams that are 40 spots above Syracuse, 22 spots above Syracuse. Look at their record. Look at who they play. It's insane. And so, I mean, you got Bradley leaps and bounds above Syracuse when we were looking last week. So the thing about the NET, and it should be at the time of play, right? Because remember what it used to be? The top 25? If you beat North Carolina when they were the number 1 team in the nation and they fell to number 24, you still had a win against North Carolina when they were number 1 in the nation, and that used to hold weight. It was like you beat a number 1 team in the nation. Now, if that team falls off after that, it's not your fault that they fell off after that. But where they are at that time and who you're playing. Because they do that all the time. How many times do people argue that? They argue that in football. They argue that in basketball. We beat 3 top 25 teams. Well, what if none of those teams are ranked in the top 25 at the end of the season? Did you beat 3 top 25 teams? If they're not considered top 25 teams in January, but they were in December? Are you gonna be punished for the fact that they didn't carry out their job after the fact? Because there's teams that they put at the top that fall to the bottom. So then, okay, does that mean that the media didn't do the research? Does that mean that the coaches don't know what they're talking about? If they think that this team is number 1 and this team's number 5 and this team isn't ranked, and then the team that's not ranked ends up being number 10, and the team that's number 1 ends up being number 17, and the team that's number 5 ends up falling out, I mean, what are we saying here? Because if rankings matter, which rankings are done by human beings, which always means that they have the opportunity of not being fair. But when these rankings are done and they're carried out, let's take a look at those rankings and say, are the rankings always right? Are the teams that are the better teams always put up there? Are rankings always fair? No. Are they always right? No. But when you beat a team that's ranked number 7th, that's why they keep the ranking next to it. Did you ever realize that when you look at a schedule? If North Carolina is the number 1 team in the country and then they're the number 7 team in the country, if Syracuse plays, when you see Syracuse play them twice, it'll show December whatever, North Carolina 1. January whatever, North Carolina 7. So it keeps them at number 1 at the time and says Syracuse, this is how Syracuse played against them when they were here, and this is how Syracuse played against them when they were there. The NET rankings, and people, and people lose their minds over this stuff, but, the NET rankings and the conversations that I've had about it, people are like, oh, well, that's not the only metric that they look at. But what do you hear people talk about? Quad. Quad 1, Quad 2, Quad 3, Quad 4. Do you know how annoying this is? It's literally making college basketball a math problem. What about the eye test? What about what we see? What about what we know? What about how a team is playing now? What if a team started 1-8 and since then has won 18 of 19, right? But what makes the Mountain West more important than the ACC? You gotta, we talked about this last week, but you gotta look at it and really ask yourself the questions. Because what I used to do is I would look at every single conference. I would look at the top teams in the conference. I would look at who they played and who they beat. And I would say, okay, this conference played no ranked teams. This conference played 7 ranked teams and went 4 and this team went 4-3 against those 7 ranked teams. This conference has 7 ranked teams. This conference has 2 ranked teams. This conference has 9 ranked teams. But see, to go even beyond that now, as I've evolved as a broadcaster, I now look at this and go, should that team have been ranked number 19? Should that team have been ranked number 1? So as we look, because North Carolina and Duke, no matter who they lose to, they don't want to take them out of the top 25, and they don't want to take them out of the top 10, and sometimes they don't want to take them out of the top 5. Kansas lost to an unranked team. Kansas barely moved. North Carolina lost to multiple unranked teams, and North Carolina is still given that clout. So why is North Carolina and Duke given the clout, but the ACC as a conference isn't given the clout? If you're going to give clout to North Carolina and Duke, you have to give clout to the teams that beat them, the Clemsons and the Syracuses and the Pitts and the Georgia Techs. If you're going to give clout here, you can't give clout there. The ACC does not get the love this year. North Carolina and Duke are protected. They're protected. Again, rankings are not fair. They're protected. Am I saying that Syracuse should be ranked in the nation's top 25? No. But in the past, when Syracuse was a 20-win team, there was little to no question that they were going to the tournament. Go back and do your research, peeps. If you won 20 games and had 10 losses, 10, 11 losses, look at Syracuse's record. Remember when the ACC, the last 3 years, the ACC has been disrespected, and how has the ACC responded? They responded by Miami going to their first ever Final Four last year. How has the ACC responded to the disgust and just the hate and the negativity? They've responded by winning. You put less of their teams in. You put like double the amount of Big Ten teams than the ACC teams, and the Big Ten teams fall off into oblivion, and the ACC teams are still playing. Jim Boeheim and I agree on this. A few years ago, he talked about it. I think he said the ACC was 14-5. And what was the Big Ten's record? Last year, it was awful. The Big Ten was awful. They gained, 8 or 9 spots? And Michigan State lasted a little while. Everybody else just gone. There are some conferences that back it up. The Big East backs it up, right? And I think the Big 12, in certain cases, has backed it up. But when you look at the ACC, for some odd reason, the last 3 years, the ACC has fallen out of favor with the NCAA selection committee. And the NCAA selection committee has given them less spots, yet they're still winning. So if I'm the selection committee and I've been screwing over the ACC the last couple of years, and then I would think that maybe this year it's like, okay, well, we give them less opportunities and they're going farther. So maybe they're telling us something. Maybe we need to open this up a little bit more. I mean, people are arguing teams over Syracuse when Syracuse is seated higher than those teams. Pitt's got some quality wins. Syracuse has some quality wins. But when you strictly look at the NET and you strictly look at quads, it's confusing, and it came out of nowhere. It was RPI, it was SOS, it was your play against the top 25. It was how many games are you winning at home? Are you winning these games on the road? Then it was quality losses, for goodness sakes. Quality losses, folks. What is a quality loss? Oh, you played pretty good against the number one team in the country. So, but what about the teams that beat those teams? And I would sit there and I would say, this team beat the number 2 team in the country. This team lost to the number 1 team in the country by 1. And they're considering this a more important game than the team that beat the number 2 team in the nation on the road. It doesn't make any sense, because at the end of the day, it's human. We can talk about NET and quad and strength of schedule and RPI and all this stuff. But the reality of it all to me is, what's the team's record? Do they have at least 20 wins? Okay, of those 20 wins, who did they beat? Who did they beat in the top 25? What have they done in the last 10 games? What have they done in the back half of the season? Has the team gotten better? Were there injuries at these times where the teams faltered? Did they have to learn? Is it a young team? In Syracuse's case, what should work in their favor is that their starting center went out. They got rid of Benny Williams from the team. And Benny Williams was arguably, I mean, he was the vet. He was the vet. So, and Benny had a lot of things that he's worked on in the last couple of years, and he's become a better player. So you lose your center, you dismiss your starting forward, who's also had to play center for you at times, and your team is filled with sophomores. And you have a new head coach. And you got to 20 wins and a winning record in the ACC. If you were 500 in the ACC and had 20 overall wins, you were probably getting in the tournament. You might be an 8 seed. You might be a 10 seed. Now they're going, well, Syracuse got to win the ACC tournament. Times have changed. Jermaine said the new Big Ten's been a disappointment. I agree. What Greg say? The Orange is now going to get crazy in the ACC tournament. One win and done is not going to cut it, unfortunately. Well, no, because they would be beating a bottom team. And where Syracuse sits right now, they would be playing the 11-14 matchup, which is against teams with losing records. So that's not going to help Syracuse. But again, what have you done for me lately? Let's say Syracuse beats one of the bottom 5 teams in the ACC. Let's say that happens. So they do that in the second round of the tournament. Then they go and they play one of the top 4 teams and they beat that team. Is that enough? Does Syracuse have to make the semis? Because in the case of Syracuse, they're not given the leeway that other teams are given. Other teams will be argued in. Virginia will be argued over Syracuse. North Carolina, Duke will be argued over Syracuse. Look at the year where Duke won, was it 19 games and Syracuse won 20? And they argued Duke over Syracuse, and Duke lost in the first round. Didn't they lose to Lehigh? And I know there was a year that they lost to Lehigh. I don't know if it was the same year. And then that year, Indiana was 18 wins, and they went over Syracuse. So Syracuse doesn't get the same love when push comes to shove. Jermaine said the new ACC coaching staff as a whole has a lot more work to do. It's really sad to see that Duke, North Carolina, and Virginia as a whole are struggling. Well, Duke and North Carolina have lost. I wouldn't say they're struggling. I would say that they've lost games against unranked teams, which is uncharacteristic of them. I wouldn't say that they're struggling, Jermaine. I think that Duke and North Carolina, and they're going to get in the tournament because, they're a darling. Again, people look at history. They don't look at just this season. That's what's insane. They look at history. That's what they look at. There's a lot of things that happen in the tournament that are not fair. And whatever you say, facts are facts, baby. And when you look at why is this team picked and this team's not picked? Because sometimes somebody likes that logo more. Sometimes they owe somebody something. Sometimes they like that conference more. And that's reality, and it's not fair. Do I want to leave it all up to a metric system? No, because the NET I don't agree with. And we're not talking about just Syracuse. We talked about a ton of teams last week. There's a lot. Go back and watch that show. Jeff and I were breaking it down. A computer is not going to be fair, and a human being is not going to be fair. You have to find some balance between the factual stuff that a computer would look at, and then a human being saying, yeah, but outside of just sheer wins and losses, we have to look at this conference and this team and what this happened and this with this. Would you rather have 9 Big 10 teams or 9 Big 12 teams in, or would you rather have some type of a balance? Gosh forbid they let anybody in from the other 26 conferences outside of the automatic qualifier. What would they do last year if FDU did what they did? What if Merrimack was able to get in? Would Merrimack have done the same thing? Would they have been a 15 seed and would they have beaten a 2 seed? See, these are questions that we're not going to have answered because 99.9% of the time, these conferences are not getting the respect. 6 conferences get to own the at-large. There are 68 spots in men's Division I basketball for the tournament. Of the 68 spots, 32 are automatic qualifiers. You win your conference tournament, you get in. By the way, none of those should be playing play-in games because there is no point in saying you have 32 automatic bids and then making some of those automatic bids have to play in, because if they have to play in, it's not an automatic bid. So when you look at that and you say 32 are in, that means there's 36 at large. Of the 36 at large, arguably 20 plus of those are going to 6 conferences. The Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC, the SEC, the Pac-12, while it's here, and the Big East. And then 26 conferences are fighting for 10 spots, 12 spots. That's it. So most of these conferences know, if I'm the NEC, right? If I'm the WAC, if I'm the NEC, if I'm the Sun Belt, if I'm the A10, I got to win my conference tournament. Because they're going to let in 9 schools from here, and I'm not going to get in. Jermaine said, oh no, the ACC tournament, it does move, Jermaine. So it is in Washington, D.C. this year, and then it's in Charlotte and Greensboro for the next many years. What did Greg say here? Charlotte is a host city this season. The committee is going to absolutely place one or both to showcase in the Queen City. Oh, yeah, for the NCAA tournament. So it is not an exact science and is not fair. And when you throw numbers at it, see, I look at each conference, I look at the records of teams, and then I look at and see who they played and beat in the top 25 at the time of play. I've always looked at the time of play. And if you tell me I'm crazy for doing that, I would say to you, okay, well, Notre Dame got in the college football playoff because they beat Clemson early in the season. They got blown out by Clemson late in the season, but they beat them early in the season without Trevor Lawrence. And they consider that enough to put Notre Dame in because they beat everybody else plus Clemson without Trevor Lawrence at home in South Bend. Didn't it take double overtime or overtime? So I think it was double overtime against DJ Uiagalelei, who's now at Florida State. Crazy. But I mean, break it down, folks. Look at it. You know, we're going to be looking at it here on the show as I put my bracket together and give you my thoughts on who I think should be in and who may be out and all that good stuff. But it's a difficult road to hoe. I just find it interesting that Syracuse fans hate their team more than anybody else sometimes. And it's not just Syracuse fan base, it's other fan base. But I talking to Syracuse fans all the time, and the amount of hate that some of you have for your own team, it's like you don't need haters because you hate your team enough, which is crazy to me. Show your team some love, man. Have some love for your own team. Knowing how the committee acts, I think Syracuse is going to have to win a bunch. But I also think that 20 wins is good stuff here. I asked y'all what you think about Adrian Autry in his first season, 20-11 overall, 11-9 in the ACC. And Steve W. said, great start, excited for the future. I'm going to try and get to everybody's comments because your comments are coming in from all different social media. Let's see. So that was Steve's comment. And then we have some more comments that have come in here. Let's take a look at these. I want to make sure I get them all in here. So Susan said he did an awesome job his first year. Thank you, Susan. Bob M. said, great job, new coach and youngest team in the NCAA. Jason H. said, I think he did a great job. Durf P. said, great job with circumstances. Thanks, Durf, for watching and listening today. I know you're a big LeMoyne fan, so God bless to you, and thanks for tuning in and being a part of the show as a new listener and viewer. Richard H. said, awesome, go Orange, great leadership. Raymond S. said, great job. David B. said, honest assessment, very good job. Considering the adversity in numerous forms, they're doing well. Still, even though they're all young, they left some meat on the bone. Got to make free throws. Bro, you ain't kidding. Ernie M. said, thank you. Kevin W. said, great job by Coach Red and staff. Much improved product. Kelly L. said, happy we got to 20. Mark B. said, definitely had a much better season than what I had expected. John, let's see here. John S. said, impressive on almost all accounts. 6 sophomores, injuries shortening the bench. This has been a challenging year for even the most seasoned of coaches. Autry's done a solid job of moving in the right direction. We weren't winning a championship this year anyway, so let's get to the NIT and make a run. The additional practices and work will help. Chris C. replied to that and said, well said, buddy, you're spot on. Jordan V. said, the team got better as the year went on. Overall 20 wins season in year 1. I won't complain. Hopefully the start of Autry getting this program back to where it belongs. Ronnie H. said 20 wins, check. Win against a top 10 team, check. Playing better down the stretch, check. Player improvement, check. Exciting team to watch, check. Very good recruiting class, check. Not making the NCAA. Better than expected, but not yet meeting the Q standard. Excited about next year. Gene Waldron, former Syracuse player, said, wrong. These kids did well. Remember, they are a young team with coach being in his first year. Shake my head. And then George said, agree. Injuries also. Donald L. said, with all sophomores and no true center with a limited rotation, great job. Michael Antonio L. said, good job, but didn't have the defensive stoppers. Got to do better in recruiting. Scott said, now let's go with the NIT, and it would be a remarkable first season of the Adrian Autry regime from Scott W. So those are your comments there. I want to make sure that I didn't miss it. This is just Facebook alone. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody's thoughts here because we got you from Instagram, we got you on Facebook, and we got you on X, the former Twitter. And so I want to make sure I hit everybody's comments. Let's see what other comments came in here. So we got the team gap. Okay, so that's the same one. Dennis G said he's done very, very well. And then Eric said, I finally agree with you on something. And then Dennis said, team has a lot of holes. His challenges lie ahead. I think it will be a very interesting offseason with many changes. He can't be objectively judged for 3 or 4 years. I don't know about that. I don't think you can judge. I don't think you should judge anybody. But, you know, I think you can assess over time what your thoughts are. Christine D, said, I think that Autry is bringing life back into Cuse basketball. This is a young team, frustrating to watch at times, but I think if all the guys come back, then watch out. I also think Red needs to optimize his subs and timeouts, but I think that will come with time. Guy T said 20 wins is a great result for a first-year coach. I hope he can recruit a true center. Jenny C said he's done damn well his first year trying to follow someone like Boeheim. He did great. Yes, lots of work to do, but 20 wins is a great first year. Maybe a few more in the ACC tournament and maybe a few in the NCAAs. Who knows? So I'd like to see that positivity, Jenny. Eric N said 20 wins is huge. Love the tempo and flow he's trying to bring back to Cuse ball. Hopefully a majority of them stay because the incoming class is good. All they need is a couple good transfer pickups, and Cuse will be back to being contenders all year. Deb V said, awesome job. George S. said, great job. Bob B said, can we please just hire someone to coach the bigs? Please. Lou M said, great job. And Pasquale B said, very commendable. Josh C said, incredible work. I think our program is in great hands. Good to see that, as I've known Autry for, over a decade now? About a decade now. Dave C said, he done a great job. Has a young team, but we need a center big time. Who knows? Still love my orange. Thomas R said 20 wins, tough division. Tough conference, I guess he's saying here. And Ron B said, I think he and the players have done well. 20 wins when both coach and players are learning and growing is impressive. Let's finish the year as strong as we can and keep everyone for next season. So, great responses here. There's more. And once again, I'm reading off your responses. I asked you all how you feel about the Syracuse Orange first season under Adrian Autry, so I'm reading all your comments as promised. Let's see here. We got another one that came in from Dome Dog Podcast, said, I think Red, referring to Adrian Autry, was one of those guys who was ready for a long time. He just needed an opportunity. 11-9 ACC, most wins in conference since 2013-14. Beat North Carolina. The program is moving in the right direction, so thanks, Dome Dog. And then to go to our X, the former Twitter, and read your thoughts here. Let's see what you had to say to me here. Baseline to sideline said, more work to do. Adrian's headed in the right direction for sure. A recruiting class or two of his own guys will only improve these numbers. Let's see what else here. Brian C said, we have a ton of losses by 15 or more and 2 by 30 plus. Point differential is big in the NET rankings. Cough 20 said, pretty good first year. I just hope these guys stay and we can actually build something with them in the freshmen coming. The portal has been brutal. Ryan R. Files 90 said, first 20-win regular season in a decade is a step in the right direction. Hope Red can build on it. We've seen programs like Louisville, Notre Dame, and Pitt falter after coaching changes and dealing with issues. Now need to find a way to get out of living in the middle pack of the ACC. Michael Griffin 3 said, got to make the NCAA tournament. So those are your thoughts. Those are your thoughts. So many thoughts coming in about Adrian, and the overwhelming majority have been positive, which is awesome to see. Now let's take a look at some other things that have come in here in the feed. Hey, Dan, how would you feel about the basketball tournaments going to bigger venues for conference championships? Dude, I've been to a lot of venues. There's a lot of amazing venues. There's a lot of amazing arenas around the country. Greg said, looking ahead in this age of NIL money and the transfer portal, can the Orange keep this group of sophomores together with the addition of incoming super freshmen? I mean, it comes down to who you're recruiting. If people have their eyes on the money, then no. If they have their eyes on teamwork and winning a championship, then yes. Relationship should always trump the dollar. Because you can't take the dollar with you, but you can take your memories with you. And so I would tell you that Syracuse kept it all together last year. See, that's the thing that people are talking about. It's like, how does Syracuse keep them all together under Autry? They kept it together under a coaching change. Benny came back. Chris came back. Joe was done. Joe had already, that's what people don't understand about Joe and Jesse. They already had 4 years. They already had a degree at Syracuse. They went in their grad year to another school, which a lot of people do. My father did. My father went from LeMoyne, got his education, and then went to law school at Syracuse. So, this whole all these people left. I mean, number one, it was a bonus year. It was a year provided by COVID. So people are complaining about how dare they not stay for the year that never existed before a pandemic happened. It was a year that was granted by the NCAA in an extenuating circumstance. So Jesse left after 4 years with a bonus year. Joe left after 4 years with a bonus year. But Chris Bell stayed. Benny Williams stayed. Justin Taylor stayed. Judah Mintz stayed after tested the waters of the NBA. Quadir Copeland stayed. These guys all stayed. So, Malik Brown stayed. And they stayed during a coaching change. A coach that was there for 47 years as the head coach. They stayed through that. So, do I think that they could stay now? Yeah. If they want to go for like money and this and that, whatever, then, sometimes, folks, it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. So, I think this Syracuse team should look at what they're building, should understand that they're not fundamentally sound, and should work on fundamentals from here on out this season and into the offseason, and then come back and fly under the radar and wreak havoc. Syracuse has the bones of being a good team. They have the bones of being a strong team. They just have to be fundamentally sound. They have to be consistent. They have to box out. They have to set screens. They have to do pick and rolls. They have to run offensive plays. They have to get better at out of bounds. They got to get better at moving the ball around on offense. They have to work the ball inside. They have to back guys down. They need more size. They got to put on more weight and more muscle. There's a lot of things that are in their control. They just have to do it. I'm not looking at this Syracuse team and saying, oh man, no. We've gotten everything we could get out of these guys. There's nothing left. No, there's plenty left. That's why I believe in this team. There's plenty left in the tank. They've had glimmers of really awesome signs. Malik Brown and Quadir Copeland are dogs. Justin Taylor has navigated through getting hate in his home, in Syracuse, in the city that he plays in, and in the Dome. And he's navigated through that. And I respect him for that. Judah Mintz still has to learn leadership. It's the biggest note I would give him at the NBA Combine. I'm give it to him again. He has to learn leadership. He can score. A lot of guys can. He's not going to make the NBA because he can score. And I've covered a lot of summer leagues where you want to pull a guy aside and go, dude, get some rebounds, work the ball around, get some assists, prove that you can do a lot of things, jump on the floor, go for that loose ball. Kyle Cuff, you got to be around that dude's energy, man. You got to be around that dude's energy. See, there's a lot of things that I thank God that I get to know about this team, and I'm not sitting here knocking them saying they're not fundamentally sound. They're not. I'm factually telling you information. And it's frustrating to see a team have talent, but to not work on fundamentals. Because talent plus fundamentals breeds success. You can't just be talented. You can't just be... If that was the case, Kentucky under John Calipari would have won like 20 championships. You can't just be talented. You have to be talented with fundamentals. You have to have... You got to put the work in, and you have to have a plan. Or else you're not going to be the best that you can be. You have to have a plan. So, it's not that Syracuse can't. It's just that they haven't done the fundamentals. They're talented, but they're not consistent because they're not being fundamentally sound. And their defense is not consistent. Going up against a team and being like, well, Clemson's just going to back us down because they're bigger than us, then why even play the game? If you look at it and go, well, we can't stop them. Remember when Dino Babers said that Syracuse saw Duke come on the field? And he said, my defensive line looked at their offensive line and said, wow, those are some big boys. A lot bigger than we saw in film. In that moment, it was like to me, what I heard was my team saw them and went, wow, they're bigger than us. We're not prepared for this. Do you know how many amazing sports stories came from they're bigger than us, stronger than us, faster than us, more prepared than us? Maybe not more prepared because preparation and fundamentals, that's what I'm talking about here. But bigger, stronger, faster. So you have to outsmart them. There are plenty of teams that have won games that they weren't supposed to win. But when Syracuse goes and plays the way they played in some games and then they play a different way in the other game, they have to be consistent. You can say what you want to say about Dino Babers. I have a great relationship with him. You can say what you want to say about him. But he said something I come back to all the time. You have to be consistently good, not occasionally great. And Syracuse is occasionally great. They have to be consistently good. How do you become consistently good? You plan. You do fundamentals. You work on the things that make you a better team. It's chess, not checkers. Checkers is I'm going to shoot up threes and hope to God I make them. Checkers is I'm gonna street ball you. Chess is I'm going to outsmart you. I might not be bigger, stronger, faster than you, but I'm going to beat you today. When I watch certain teams play and I watch Syracuse play, it's different basketball. It should not be that way. Syracuse needs to be in the upper echelon. They have talent, but the weight room and stamina and endurance and planning and scheming and fundamentals, those are all things within your control that they have to work on. I don't think I'm telling them something that they don't know. I respect them. I'm proud of them. They've done a lot more than people probably gave them any credit to do. But now you got to take a step forward and do the things that you're not doing. Because if you want to be better, you can't stand in place. And if you want to set screens and box out, that would be a massive help to everything that's going on right now. It's not rocket science. It's science. And they got to work on it. It's basketball science if they want to move forward. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back right after this where sports meets life.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I do want to let you all know that I had the NFL logo up here because we're going to talk about a bunch of things, kind of just to primer you into tomorrow and my conversation with Papa Joe, as PJ and I are going to be talking about baseball as well as football. But Josh Allen has been, the outside linebacker for the Jaguars, has been franchise tagged. And so the current situation with that, and the Jaguars don't have a lot of money this offseason. So they need more time for a deal with Josh Allen. I would like to hope that they will get this deal done, because the tag is set for over $24 million. It's actually 24007, which I think is cool. It's the second most expensive position to tag behind a quarterback. They need to sign him long-term and get him off this franchise tag, because they only have $29 million to work with in the offseason, and this would account for 24 of the 29, which would leave them with $5 million, which is not great. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have to figure this thing out, and figure it out sooner rather than later, as the Jags are in this situation right now where, you know, the question is, who do you keep? Your starting kicker is on, you know, could be on the market here. Fatou Kassi, defensive lineman, he's out there. Rayshon Jenkins, who's been a starter at safety for them, Calvin Ridley, after one season with the team, Trey Herndon, who's been a longtime corner, Tyler Shatley, who signed a couple years ago, signed a multi-year deal, and he's played guard and he's played center, so he's out there as well. Jacksonville's got to be smart with their money, which means that first and foremost, they need to take care of this contract with the Josh Allen situation. They got to take care of it, and they got to take care of it quick. So we'll talk about it more tomorrow, but that's a little primer for you, as we will be live, as always, on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, you could search for us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Podchaser.com, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, to get all of our shows there for you throughout history, including over 1,600 episodes on Podbean alone. Big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York. It's buy one, get one day, so if you go and get a DT Dolphin today exclusively at Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York, if you go there today and every Wednesday, you could get a buy one, get one DT Dolphin My Sunday that is only at Carvel DeWitt, right down the road from LeMoyne College, and get it today to celebrate going to the postseason. The men's team is playing at 7 o'clock tonight in their first ever Division I postseason, first NEC tournament. Why not celebrate with a DT Dolphin? And it's buy one, get one. So bring a friend, bring dad, bring mom, grandma, grandpa, girlfriend, boyfriend, your buddies. But then you have to pick one. Bring 3 of your friends and go. You get a free Sunday. And you guys got to pick. Oh, no. If you have 4 of you, then 2 of you get the Sunday and the other 2 get it for free. How about that? And then next Wednesday, you flip it, and whoever had to pay this week doesn't have to pay next week. DT Dolphin, go and get one today. The Wildcat Sports Pub, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, PB&J's Lunchbox, Avicoli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, which has my Cuse McMother sandwich that you can find, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. Cut it up and have it with some syrup, and you can get it 7 days a week exclusively at Syracuse Staple Restaurant. Mother's Cupboard on 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. Open 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. daily. Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, and we are proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your LeMoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call. Find your Dolphins during Dolphin time, like today, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Weekly coverage of the Dolphins, a spotlight bigger than they've ever had before as an institution, and it is my honor. AD and DT, the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni every second and fourth Wednesday of each month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And we underpromise, overdeliver, as you've had more than just Wednesdays at 9 a.m. You can catch all the content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and the notification bell. Look for our LeMoyne playlist on our YouTube channel, and find LeMoyne on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, as well as on wakeupcalldt.com underneath exclusive partners. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. Please come to the game tonight and celebrate history that will only happen once with LeMoyne men's basketball tonight, Wednesday, March 6th at 7 p.m. We'll see you at Ted Grant Court in Syracuse, New York, right off Erie Boulevard. And as always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we got to celebrate them finding out they're going to the USCAA National Tournament with an opportunity at a national championship. That's coming up this weekend. We're going to send them off this Friday, and we got to start the week by celebrating with them getting chosen to go for men's and women's basketball. We also have featured baseball in year number 2 under head coach Sean Peak, who started the program at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. And of course, men's and women's soccer and esports have all been featured here on Wake Up Call in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership in what we call the Bobcat Buzz. You will find all episodes by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Hit the notification bell. Look up our BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. can also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and on their own page underneath exclusive partners on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And as always, go Bobcats. Binghamton University is the newest exclusive multimedia marketing partner of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The Bobcats starting with us right here on March 1st of 2024, and what is hoping to be an amazing story to tell and journey to have that has only just begun. The Bearcats will come to you every Tuesday on Wake Up Call during Bearcat Time. Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The Bearcats throughout the year will be telling their stories with Moments with Marshall featuring Athletics Director of Binghamton University, Gene Marshall, and the Bearcat Break Room will feature student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year. We started off our official Bearcat Time this past Tuesday, March 5th, and already underpromised and over-delivered with 3 specials all airing on the same day, the inaugural Moments with Marshall and a double inaugural send-off to the Bearcat Break Room, starting everything off here with women's basketball head coach Beth Ann Shapiro-Ord and men's basketball head coach Lavelle Sanders. Find all of our content with the Bearcats by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Hit the notification bell and find the Binghamton Bearcats playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bearcats on the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com and on their own page on wakeupcalldt.com underneath exclusive partners there on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information on your Binghamton Bearcats, make sure that you head to right now to get a bunch of info on the Bearcats. You can simply go to bubearcats.com. That's bubearcats.com. And as always, go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, we got a couple things that have come in here. And let's see. The wide receiver free agent market quickly became anticlimactic. The fun free agency will be to where these running backs will land. Yeah, there's a lot of running backs out there. Saquon was not franchise tagged. Derrick Henry and company out there. Washington and Houston both have plenty of money to spend. Yes, Washington has the most money in the country to spend. I think it's just shy of $80 million. The Lions, as good as they look on paper, also have a good chunk of cap space to work with. Yeah, that's a blessing. Because the Lions, not a lot of excuses of not making a run at something. So hopefully they will, for my buddy Johnny and all those Detroit Lions fans out there. With that being stated, thanks to Bob Beretta, I will see you tonight at LeMoyne, Ted Grant Court, 7 o'clock to make history, the first ever NEC game in the playoffs for LeMoyne men's basketball, the first Division I postseason ever for LeMoyne's men's basketball, and they're hosting. So I will see you all tonight, Wednesday, March 6th at 7 p.m., Ted Grant Court in Syracuse at LeMoyne to watch them in their first ever NEC Division I postseason with the opportunity to work toward a championship in the NEC. They'll be hosting FDU, the 4-seed LeMoyne against the 5-seed FDU. Thanks to Bob. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all my viewers and listeners. Thank you to everybody that wrote in to give me your thoughts on how Syracuse is doing in year 1 under Adrian Autry. Thank you to everybody that's wrote into the live feeds. I hope you have a fantastic day. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. You'll find us all the time. And as always, folks, God bless. No stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon. Be well.